Good morning. Welcome to the CGS Biblecast. Have you ever felt overwhelmed? Maybe God has given you something too big, or your boss maybe has given you something too big, and he's like, you're thinking like, how in the world am I going to accomplish that? Well, you got to think Moses probably felt a little bit like this. If you're reading the Bible plan, you're probably, I've already talked to some guys this morning that are frustrated. They're like, listen, this is a lot of details. And did God actually give them all these details? Like, this is a lot. And so you got to think he probably had to feel a little overwhelmed. We're overwhelmed just reading it. So, he had to feel a little overwhelmed because it's like, I'm out here in the wilderness and I'm supposed to find all these things and do all these things. So, let's read here. We're going to be Exodus 35, verse 35. The Lord had given them special skills as engravers, designers, embroiders in blue, purple, and scarlet thread on fine linen cloth, and weavers. They excel as craftsmen and as designers. Now, you read this, if you read this morning or whenever you read it, you probably didn't think much about this verse, but think about how overwhelmed Moses felt when he had all these instructions to build the tabernacle. This is a massive structure. If you've read all of the instructions about all the weaving they had to do, and they had to make their own yarn, like their own material. They had to make their own stuff. All the ram skins they had to tan and all that stuff. Huge project. Overwhelming. And there's so much skill and technique that's required that you couldn't just hand these tasks over to anyone and been like, I want you to go over there and I want you to forge some rings and make these poles out of gold and silver. It's like, okay, I do not know anything about that at all. You have to talk to David Holloway or something about how to do that. But in God's infinite wisdom, though, he already had a plan behind the plan. He had gifted specific people to accomplish his design and teach their skills to others. You got to think this is a large group of people. God wasn't saying, Moses, I want you to go build all this. He was saying, Moses, your people are to build all of this. So we each have God-given gifts and abilities. Some of us have more traditional talents as art or music. Others have more like skills that are more taken granted of, like administration, hospitality, or not even prayer. Like people don't think about prayer as a skill, but some people are just gifted at prayer. They are really good about setting time aside, and they're really good at intercessing over other people for their needs. So the purpose of our gifts is more than to help make our lives easier or more enjoyable. They are to be used to help further God's plan and draw others to him. We got to think our mission in life is always the Great Commission. It's always pointing back to that. Everything we do, everything blessing we receive, everything we do, it goes back to that. And especially within the church, how are we using our gifts to fulfill his purpose? We got to think about what role do we play in the church. Now, remember, the church isn't a building, or the church is a group of people, and there's this huge church that we all belong to, this kingdom of God. What place do we have in his kingdom? So whether it's behind the scenes or in the limelight on stage, everyone loves to be on stage. Well, it's like a split. Like you either love to be on stage or you would never step on stage. And one group's always trying to do one thing and the other group's always trying to do the other thing. But wherever it may be, remember that it's all about him. And there's no greater feeling than using your God-given talent in a God-driven way. Push towards your calling. We talk about that a lot in church because it's such a big deal. And it's not always going to be like Moses, where he lays out on stone tablets exactly what we're supposed to do, and like pages and pages and pages of details, exactly how to do it. A lot of times it's just going to be almost always, it's going to be the passion and desire of God's will that's in your heart. You are going to be called and led with your heart to do the things of the Lord. That's what you got to follow in your life. So be paying attention to that. What is God calling you to do? What injustices can you not stand? What thing breaks your heart that you can't stand to see? And what thing fills your heart when you see it happen. Those are the things God's leading you to. And you have got to find those things, identify them, and then give those gifts and callings back to Him in a constructive way. Be blessed. Praying for you today. It's going to be a great day. Follow that calling and realize that there's others to help. Don't be overwhelmed because God's given you a plan and He's going to make a way for it to happen. Have a great day.